welcome everybody. My name is Pokani Kaunda, and I'm the artist relationship manager for Vwaza. On the call right now, I have amazing members of my team, Brigitta Mwale, we've got Vanessa Kaima, and Toko Kadewere. Thank you for joining us today. I'm really hoping the network is not going to embarrass us because we're supposed to be learning about the business of live music performances. So maybe to start the whole conversation off, Raymond and Tawen, maybe I can put you on the spot a little bit. What is your interest in the business of live music performances? Is it something that you want to do more of, or maybe you're trying to help other people to do more local performances?
Okay, as for me, it's something that I want to do because I'm an independent artist. I really like to do live performances to make profit, but I don't know how. That's why I'm here.
I love that. Very true, very relatable as well. How about you, Raymond? If you're able to speak, maybe you're not able to speak. If you're not, that's fine. Pere, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys.
I wanted to hear from Raymond, but I think maybe his network is acting trippy. I was just asking everybody's interest in learning about the business of music performances. So we can get started. Please tell us your
Okay.
journey and your bio. Yeah.
My name is Perelade Dimanche, and I'm a talent manager, live tour, live events and touring manager. I've been doing this for maybe unofficially a decade, but officially over 7 years. I still consider myself a learner as much as I like to share my knowledge. I still consider myself a learner. I've done live events ranging from festivals to concerts to just normal live events, to even comedy. I've gone beyond even music industry, and done various live events and managed various talents across music and entertainment industry. Yes, that's what I've done. Thank you.
That's really amazing. I remember when we first met, you were very hands on, and I think you being in the touring and live music industry really suits you. Let's talk about how we could define the live music industry. Because remember when we learned that there were several industries within the music industry, and that the live music industry is actually its own type of industry. Could you give us a little bit more background in how you've maneuvered getting into the live music industry?
All right. So I've always been interested in the live music industry because my very first experience of music came from listening to someone play live, and it was like Vwaza. And from that day, it just sort of put something in me to say, how does this come alive? How did that guy do that thing right there? And then if you're like me, who also grew up in church, you also have that knowledge of, oh, how do these things come together? You also um, try to. So, as I was saying, if you look at the live um, music scene in church, you would agree with me that it's almost a perfect thing that happens there. So, it was in that curiosity that made me want to understand how all of these components come together and how it can be better. Because when you equate the live music industry in the church to outside the church, it's not even quite the same. So it made me curious. Maybe you want to say we need that same quality outside. Like we need that same type of the way it is, the energy, the fun experience. We need it outside. And so that's what got me into the live industry. And now for me, the live music industry is the fan connector. That's how I describe it, right? It's the fan connector, it's the link, it's the experience factor, right? As an artist, you can be an amazing recording artist, and it's okay to be just a recording artist. But when you do live music, when you experience it as a fan, so live music for me has two components, both for the fan and for the artist, the performer. You do music as a performer, you're connecting to your fans. It's like a deeper connection. It's a whole new world seeing the fans' reaction to music in real.
My guys, I am so sorry. This is Africa. That's what we're working with here. you were talking about how it's okay to be a recording artist, but that the stage is where you come alive.
Yes. So for me, the live event is split into two components: fans and the performer, right? So from the performer's point of view, that's where you see your audience's reaction in real time, where you experience that reaction. So when people hear your song and you're like 4 minutes and everyone's going, yeah, 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 on social media, when you perform live, that's when you see the virtual reaction. And when you also, as a fan, when you see an artist that you love live, that's the most beautiful thing, especially if you connect with that. Even if you don't love the artist, if the artist gives you a great show, I promise you that's a whole new experience. So these two components make up, but there's in between, obviously, there's the promoters, the marketers, but the two major components that stand toe to toe are the so it's like performer equals to fan. Then you have all the chain that leads up to that moment. But yes, for me, that's what live music is about.
So for an upcoming or independent artist that wants to start getting shows for themselves, what are some of the things that they need to start doing, regardless of what stage of their journey they might be at? What are some tips that you would give based off some of the artists that you have worked with and the shows that you've organized? What are some of the things they need to start doing now or that they need to have in place?
If you belong in church, I would always advise you to join the choir of a church as a live, as an artist who wants to go into live. I would always advise that because I would always go back to the church. And if you're not part of the church, join a choir or something. Just join any live. It helps you to train your voice, to train your performance skills, to build your performance skills. And if not that, then just perform for free. Go for open mic nights or days, perform where you can, right? Um, put your camera in front of your face and just perform, post it on your social media. If you have like a WhatsApp link or something, maybe a WhatsApp group, a fan club, post it on there. Like, you don't have to be a perfect performer. You just need to be willing to do it. Go on YouTube, learn about how to record yourself. Like, I'm just saying, like, you need to keep doing it. It's practice. Practice makes perfect, basically. You need to perform for your friends. So if your friend has a birthday party, even if they did not send you, tell them that you want to do a performance for them. Do like a 10-minute performance for your friends' parties. By the time you start doing that, people will start getting comfortable with hearing you perform. And it starts with your friends. Perform for your family members. If your family member has a wedding, tell them you'd like to perform. Because the honest truth is, if you go 5 months without performing, you will not perform. But if you go 5 months, you'll not make money. But if you go 5 months where you perform for people, more people would know you. And eventually, after 5 months, you could get bookings and then go on a show that can pay you. Because as an artist starting up, you can't really, I'm going to be very honest with you, you can't really say that, oh, people are going to pay you all the time. So to start, if you're just starting, you have to start with your immediate surroundings. You have to post performances. So you can even do covers of people's songs, post it, go do open mic night, go do karaoke with friends, record those moments, post it online. Because when you need to pitch for yourself to be paid for these things, these are the things that people are going to look for. So yes, I hope I answered that question for you guys. But yeah, just perform, perform, like anywhere you can, perform.
Every chance you get. Thank you. If
Yes.
anyone has a question at any point, please feel free to either drop it in the messages or you can raise your hand so we can make the conversation even more exciting. So, Pere, can we talk a little bit about some of the artists that you've helped to organize shows? I know we've spoken about artists performing everywhere as a way of building up their confidence and also their following. And then can you also talk now to the artists who might be thinking of doing their own shows, and maybe they're not waiting on someone to book them. Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. So last year, February of last year, I pulled off a 4-city tour in Nigeria with
four R&B artists, relatively unknown artists, right? They'd never gone out of their city to perform before. And so I put together a 4 city tour. They were ready to go. And, we basically set off. We did, I think the smallest shows we did were two in a particular state. But we did like 4 in one state. We did 6 in one state. So what we're doing like regions to region. So it was called a living room tour, right? We basically, the name states, did it in living rooms. What we needed money for was sound. And if you're one artist, right, I would always recommend pairing with your friends who are artists. But if you're one artist, all you need is a sound system. You get a sound system that can accommodate your type of sound. If you play an instrument, you just need to connect it. Get yourself a little mixer to do it here and there. Get a backing track, put it there, and play your music for people. Share water. You don't even need to do too much. Just get a well-lit place. Tell your friends, and I'll go back to that. Tell your friends, tell your family, oh, hey, you stay in this region, right? You stay in this region. I would like to come to this region in your house or in your small balcony. So you can do living room tours. You can do balcony tours. You can do room tours. Like, it doesn't even have to be a huge thing, right? You can start there. And then when people come, you can then say, oh, hey, guys, I'm on the road if you would like to contribute, right? When you start to do these things, people, like I said, start to get comfortable with listening to you. They want to contribute to your music. They want to contribute to the things that you're doing. So you get people to believe in you, and they start to tell their friends, oh, hey, my friend is performing in this place. So, if you do a round of that within your city, if you do like maybe 5 of those type of shows in people's living room within your city, right? Because you have to start first. You have to talk to your friend who owns like a sound system thing and say, oh, hey, I'd like to borrow your speaker for this show on this day, right? I would like to get a mic on this day. I need some fairy lights. You can go to the markets and get fairy lights, put it above your head, and just perform for people. And just use your phone, create content, right? Now, when you do that in the first circle, you realize that in the second circle, either way,
Okay.
you create merchandise, right? You can create merchandise in the next circle. But the honest truth is, you need to get people to believe you the first time when you want to do a show. So if you want to do, so this is a tour I'm speaking about. But if you want to do a show for just you and your friends, then you need to do aggressive marketing. Because a lot of people may not believe that you'll be able to give them their money's worth in the first time. So did I answer that question for you guys?
You did, without a doubt. You certainly did. And I hope that was helpful for artists in the room or anybody who has any talented artist. Some of these tips that we're getting, you can definitely help your artists like myself, hint, hint, to really level up to the next level. Let's talk about the performance fees though, or before we go there. How about building relationships with promoters and event organizers? Sometimes you see posters of events you want to go perform, but you're not sure. Can you advise in terms of how you have gone about building relationships with promoters and organizers in Lagos, Nigeria?
All right. For me in Lagos, right, what I've done is I've attended events. So as a talent manager, I've attended events. I always also advise artists to attend events. So when you attend events, you look out for the people that organize the events and you introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Perelade Dimanche. I'm doing this and this. My artist is this person. Look at my artist's social media. Look at all of this. Hi, my name is this artist. I'm this type of artist. I do this and this. You have to put yourself out there, or you follow them on social media, you follow all that they're doing, you interact with these people, right? And then you invite them. If you have like a performance, you can also invite them and say, oh, hey, come and watch me perform at this time, or come and watch my artist perform at this place. And then you see that you start to build it, right? You also support them. You go for their events. You're also paying for their events. For me, especially, is for people, when they see that I attended their events, they're very keen to hearing what I have to say about whatever artist I'm working with at the moment. So that's the way that you can network. Follow on social media. If you can't attend events, attend the type of events that you would like to perform in, or you would like your artist to perform in, and then network, and then find the organizers or find people that find things. You might be sitting next to someone who's going to organize the next big event. So you have to network sideways and upwards. So yeah, that's what I'd advise. That's what I do, to network in Lagos.
So basically, you have to be out the box and you have to
You
put
have to be
yourself.
out of the box. Yes. Either on social media or like live. You have to go for these events. You have to actually go outside and introduce yourself to these people. You have to,
I like that you've highlighted that because I feel like there's now with social media, there's all these opportunities to get a job remotely in music. But I've also noticed that a lot of Malawians might not qualify because we don't really have these conversations. So I'm hoping that we're going to see more of us putting ourselves out there in the room. So, okay, let's talk about contracts. So, okay, you're an artist, maybe you're starting out or maybe on level two. At which point do you involve contracts and how do you bring up the money issue? Like, oh, I charge this amount of money.
so the way that you can get people to pay you what you charge, or even some sort of ways, when, like I said, they've trusted in your performance, or if not, they throw you in, you perform the first time, you wow them, and they're willing to pay you something. One thing I must say is, even if you're performing for free, a contract is necessary. It doesn't even have to be it just needs to be an agreement. If you're starting out, because you might not have the money to pay a lawyer, right? A contract is necessary for every point in your career, because you want to, and you have to abide by that contract too, right? So you have to say, oh, hey, sir, how many minutes do I have to perform? At what time do I have to perform? What time is call time? What time is this time? All of those things, you have to put them in writing. How much are you paying me? Put it in writing. So when you bring up the money conversation, some people might shrug and tell you, okay, maybe they want to take like, I'll use dollars because it's almost universal to this conversation. If you charge maybe $100 and somebody says, no, I can pay you 50, even if they're paying you 50 or $20, you sign a contract that I'm going to be paid $20, just an agreement. You can do a regular agreement in, like, maybe use Canva. It's just an agreement. It doesn't even have to involve a lawyer. But let there be an agreement, a signed document that this person agrees to the terms that we've spoken about verbally. At every point, you have to get a contract. When I mean at every point, at every damn point, honestly. Contracts are very important. Performance contracts, especially, are very important. It helps everybody abide by the rules. In fact, if you're just starting and you start out with contracts, it will help you, because when you go higher, people know not to joke with you. People know not to joke with you.
Mm.
Yes.
I like that. I absolutely love that. And I have to talk about my own journey and say, I think I've learned along the way that the moment you set a tone to say, this is how I work and I prefer to be treated this way, everyone else follows suits. It's very hard for you to do that later on. When you give people free passes or discounts, then they also don't take you seriously. So I really like that point. So what happens then if there are changes though in the last minute? Yes, you've signed a contract, but then there's changes, and how can you handle that as an artist? Because most of the times artists are moving by themselves because they're independent, they don't have a manager. So how do you handle those types of situations where it's last minute, or maybe the promoter doesn't want to do a contract? Can you be the one to do the contract?
Yes, you can be the one to do a contract. And like I said, you can design the contract, a simple agreement. Do you understand? Just design a simple agreement, right? That you can always replicate and use. You just need the promoter to agree to the agreement, to just sign. You just tell the promoter, oh, it's just something, you can just, like, so me as sweet talk promoters, oh, I'm not doing this, I'm just doing this so that me and you, I can respect your time, you can respect my time, you just do it playfully, and before you know, they're signing. And when they sign the contract, you keep your end of the bargain. If anything is changing, you have to give room for changes. If anything changes, you have to be able to say, oh, this changed. I'm going to be late by this so hour. I'm going to be doing this by this hour. If the promoter has a fault, right? Like if the promoter faults that contract, you know it's not your fault. When you get there, you can stand by your rights. And when you perform, if the promoter now comes and says, oh, your set has been cut into 5 minutes instead of 30 minutes, right? You can hold the promoter accountable and say, you signed a contract for my set to be 30 minutes. So you can do that.
So it's important to speak up as an artist, even if you
Yes.
don't have a manager. Yeah, it's not easy to do for a lot of people because it's like, oh, you feel like you because you're starting out in the industry, you have to be a certain way, humble or like in a corner. But I think the fact that you're pointing out how to make sure people know you from the start, that you are a certain way, and that if they won't do it, you're going to do it. I think these are major keys that I hope are going to help someone along their journey. So now let's talk about preparations. You have been with different types of artists preparing for their shows and their gigs. Can you break down the process of getting ready for live music performances? We can talk about the live show itself or the rehearsals, wardrobe. What does that look like for you when it comes to preparing for a show?
So preparing for a show, basically, you start by making sure you're ready, your performance is ready. So you rehearse, right? Rehearse like you are going to perform in front of the president himself. Rehearsal gets you, right? And then you need to figure out what type of style you're going. You need to pick out. As much as people underestimate this, you have to be comfortable in what you're even wearing to perform. You need to figure that out because if you're uncomfortable on stage, in your clothes, it's going to affect your performance. You need to be comfortable. If you have an like a unique style, you get your unique style. You need to create that. You need to push out your performance. Like so, if you're supposed to perform on the 10th of say June, you need to start telling your fans, get your own fans ready, right? Music wise, like I said, you need to always music wise, like I said, you need to rehearse, right? You need to keep rehearsing. Um, and then when you now get to the venue, some of the things you need to look out for are the mics working. What type of mics am I using? Am I using an in-ear? Am I using a regular mic? What type of performance am I doing? Am I using a backing track or am I using a band? You know, you as an artist, you know what's comfortable with you, you know what you're doing. So one thing I would tell you is as all of these preparations go on, even your music itself has to be well prepared. You have to be ready for inconsistency. So if the light trips off, what do you do? Right? If the light goes off, what do you do with your fans? You need to be ready to say, oh, the lights have gone off, the music has gone off, but what do I do now? So you can start by clapping with your fans and saying, oh, hey, you know what, guys, the lights have gone off, but let's wave our hands this way. Let's, but your music, your performance has to be the top of the preparation. That's what I would always advise. Your performance has to be the top. Your fans and your people who are not even your fans need to be aware. In the bus, when you sit there, I can tell someone, hey, I'm an artist, I'm performing here at this time. You're even giving the promoters more fans. You're giving people more things to talk about. So, but your music has to be quality first. That's always like one thing I would preach. It has to be like the performance has to be quality first.
Do you think, okay, so the two more questions just popped up in my head. One of them is like, what do you think are the factors that make certain artists be paid more than other artists? You can talk about some of the Nigerian artists that you've worked with. Maybe you've seen them grow from a certain paycheck to a certain paycheck. What are some of the things that they did? Could we get into that?
All right, I'm going to use an artist that maybe we may all know. Does everybody know? Does everybody know Shali Poppy, the Nigerian artist Shali Poppy?
Yes, now Minister of Enjoyment. Yes.
All right, great. So now, somebody like a Shali Poppy, as of 2 years ago, Charlie Poppy used to maybe charge like 3 million naira, maybe 3 million in the beginning when he started, maybe 3 million naira, maybe 3 million naira in dollars would be like a $2,000, right? When he started, the Pluto Presidio, they used to do $2,000. Right now, he charges nothing less than $50K. And the reason why is because, yes, the
Whoa.
reason why is because as he started, right, first off, the popularity. So I would say that he's such an amazing live performer. I would say that it is his popularity that has helped him so far, right? I would say it is his popularity. So I would attribute like his price to his popularity, his music, how his music has grown, how his fans have grown. That's what I would attribute to making his money more, right? So that's what usually just tell you guys. What other artists would I use that you guys could know? The thing is, it's popularity. It's okay, let me use Rema. Rema in 2019, he came for a festival called Bole Festival. And at that time, it was still the same $2,000. Right now, Rema charges close to $200K. This is like maybe 5, almost 6 years ago. Yes. So it's music, quality of music. Bremer has one of the best performances like we've seen in history. He has grown, he has developed it. His music has also grown. And you would also attribute it to the type of label that he's part of and the international recognition. So these things, not everybody's stories are going to be the same, right? I would use a Johnny Drill also, for instance. If you guys know Johnny Drill, and I'm speaking about these people because I've worked closely with teams during events on and all of that, or worked like with them. Now, a Johnny Drill is also an artist who has grown exponentially. And you know why he has grown? He has grown because his live performance is top notch. He's one of the best live performer in Nigeria as we speak, if I do say so myself. He's one of the best. And his price has gone from 2 years ago, charging maybe the same, less than $2,000, to charging a 15K. Do you understand? A 15K now, even across Africa, charges about a 10 to 15K. So because he has dedicated his time to getting this price range depends on your popularity. It depends on your live performance. So if you're popular and you don't really have good live performance, people might manage you, but they won't book you all the time. But if you have both, like a Rema or a Burna Boy, you are absolutely good to go. Or Davido, absolutely good to go. And your price will keep increasing. Like, the more people see the value, right? The more people see the value in you coming to perform, it will grow.
I love that. That's a major tip. I'm taking notes for myself, no lie. So you've attended several types of events, the hype ones, festivals, intimate type of shows. Let's give some advice. Could you give us some advice actually? When, let's say, any artist in the room right now, or someone is managing an artist that is about to perform at a festival. Let's say it's a hype festival, or they're about to perform at an intimate show. What are your tips towards artists in that kind of setting? I'm sure you've observed what works best. Could you give some pointers in terms of how artists can carry themselves in those different types of performance settings?
If you're performing in an intimate show, right, your fan interaction needs to be close knitted. So you need to look people in the eye. You need to be able to call out people and say, hey, come and sing this part of my song. Do you understand? And then if you're performing in a festival, right? So these are two different settings. If you're performing at a festival, you need to be the life of the party. Now, if your song is not the type of song that's the life of the party type of song, if you have a slow song, like my sister Kim here, if you have like the R&B thing going for you, there's still a way to make R&B look amazing. There's still a way for R&B to sound amazing, for instance. So what you can also do is you can look at performances. Like one person I look at, I always watch a performance, even if I'm not an artist, is Billie Eilish. watch Billie Eilish perform her songs. Her songs are some of the saddest songs. But if you go watch Billie Eilish perform, like watch some of her earliest performances. So don't start with now that she's lost so big. Go back and you can watch Southwest festivals. So go to festivals like um what festival can I look at now? I think I'll drop the names because now they are like evading my head. But yeah, um, certain festivals, go to these festivals, go and look at artists when they started. Look at Ed Sheeran, for instance. Look at how he performs. He's not a hyped up artist like Davido, right? Look at a Johnny Drill. So in fact, more than ever, go look for a Johnny Drill. He's a Nigerian artist who does R&B, right? Look at the way he performs. Look at the way he interacts with his fans. That is such a crucial like thing to do. Like when you even want to do it, you go look at some of the artists and how they perform. And trust me, you would learn a thing or two from these things. You would learn a thing or two. You have because when you're performing for a bigger crowd, now you have a bigger crowd to please. So you have to be able to gather people together. You have to be able to get people to sing along and say, oh, go me. When I say Kim, you say Malawi, say Kim. Malawi, say Kim. Say Malawi, you say Diamond, you say Kim, you're doing all of those things. You need to be able to just get people off the funk. And then when people join you, and even if you're singing such a slow song, what song will I use? Maybe this, how are you, my friend? So when you're doing, you know, say, when I say, how are you, my friend? You say, how do you do? So you tell people what to sing back to you. You know, people can follow. If you have a heartbreak song, right? If you have a heartbreak song, what you can do is, so when you have so let me what song do I want to use now? Call and response, right? Fan interaction. You start from the closest fans and then you point to the bigger fans. Because during festivals, some people don't actually care about you and your R&B that you're coming to sing. But there's a way you can captivate them with call and responses. There's a way you can tell them. So another thing I would say is do storytelling, right? Do storytelling with stuff like this. So when I took the boys on tour, one of the things that I got them prepared for was they told a story before every song. The boys would say, oh, hey, I started singing this song because of this heartbreak. This girl showed me, this girl showed me Shege. This girl showed me Shege, and I did this. And then when they do that, they start to, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, this girl broke my heart. You know, I cried. And so when you're saying that story, people are already laughing. They're already like, what does this song want to sound like now? Do you understand? And then the next thing, they're like, oh, let's listen to this heartbreak song. And another way you can, there's even one that one of the boys said, oh, he was sleeping with two girls. And everybody just went, what? Is it not you that said they always break your heart? Why are you now in a song talking about two girls that you were sleeping with and cheating with? It was so hilarious. But you have to create that story for people to connect to you. Do you understand? When you do that, if it's in a very noisy place, you can try as long as people can hear the mic. You can say, for somebody like a Kim now, if Kim is going, you can say, oh, this is when I broke seven boys' hearts at the same time. Come on, everybody's gonna listen to that song.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yes. So we can do that. You know, tell a story, interact with your fans, get them to be interested in that song.
Thank you so much. Well, damn, you put me on the spot, but I love it. That was real. Definitely taking notes again. So I want you to answer the next question from your point of view, from your personal experience, and say what separates a good live performer from a great one, and how can artists develop engaging stage presence? I know you've spoken about locking eyes with people, telling them to sing back to you, but from your personal experience now, what were the shows that you said, wow, like goosebumps on your skin? And what were some of the things that made it feel that way?
I would use what artist would I use for this point of view now when performing? I would use, I don't know if any of you know an artist called Dandizi. He's a rap artist. He's a Nigerian rap artist. People think he's on the ground, but I think he's one of the most exceptional rap artists. You can go and check him out. And you understand why I call his name when you check him out. So Dandizi is he raps and he releases music. But his best attribute about himself is his best attributes are his spontaneous freestyles, right? So then Dizzy can go to a place and he starts to freestyle and he talks about everything that's going on there on the spot. I think he's a great performer. Now, when you say a good performer, so I'm using it to equate. When you say a good performer, and I don't mean to you guys, my point of view, please don't cut me anyway. I beg you. But when you say a good performer, right, you can call like any of the regular rap artists. So maybe you can call what artist perform. So maybe you can call like a Ladipo, of Maven. You can say he's a good performer. You can call even an MI, he's a good performer. You can call but when you say a great performer, someone who can perform his songs and then still captivate you with his rap. I have taken Dandizi to a rave, guys, a rave. And Dandizi told the DJ to reduce the song. I even have the video. He told them to just reduce the song a bit. And he started to rap on the spot. And he talked about everybody in front of him, talked about the DJ, talked about the people at the back, talked about how he was walking in and all everything that he rapped on the spot. And everybody went crazy, right? Everybody went crazy. That's a great performer right there. I wish more people would pay. So so now it's now that he's a great performer, but he's not really popular. So a lot of people have not seen the value yet in the type of artist that he is. But when everybody experiences him for the first time, they're like, gosh, this boy is mind blowing. Do you understand? It's mind blowing. So for me, a good performer is a performer, obviously, who gets themselves ready, who is good, who's great, good voice, everything. But a great performer goes out of their way to be exceptional. A great performer adds storytelling, adds dancing, adds everything in between, adds the unexpected to the performer. That's a great performer. That performer is a performer who, when they take lights, that performer can say, they're taking lights. Everybody now clap your hands. Clap your hands. Let's do this. Say yes. Say yes. And then before people are forming a song on the spot. Dan Dizzy has climbed up the stage with Johnny Drew. Johnny Drew saw him downstairs in the city of Port Harcourt. He climbed up the stage and right there and then they formed a song right there and then. The both of them, they're both exceptionally great performers. If you go on Johnny Drew's page, you see that performance. It was not rehearsed at all. So I'm giving you some examples of people who are like really great, just from my point of view, right? So we have those people. We have a Rema. I keep using the big guys. I wish like my brain could like go around to see the smaller people, but look at the big guys, like the Remas. They go crazy on stage. Outside of all the things they are doing, even the visuals they use, amazing, amazing. So honestly, you guys, a good one is a good one, but a great one is someone who thinks outside of the box, squeezes the box, and throws away the box. He interacts, he interacts with his fans like they're his family members, like they're in his head. It's a type of performer that when you leave that place, you're like, wait, that thing Kim did when she wind her waist this way. Ooh, I liked it. Kim, I'm sorry I keep calling your name.
I love it. You want to be my manager. You sound like you might have a few tips and strategies for me. But yeah, I love that you've given us so much advice. The other question, based on what you've also said, was about lighting, like understanding things like lighting. How important is it for artists to understand what are some of the technical issues they should keep in mind, even though they're rolling solo, they don't have a manager, they don't have a team, they're at this place, they're pulled up. What are some of the technical things that they need to keep in mind? It can be anything from monitors or lighting. Give us some tips in regards to that.
All right. First off, one thing I would always tell people is YouTube is a beautiful place to see what you need. Now, as an artist, watch some of these performers that I've told you, watch some of the festival performances that I've told you, and see what the lighting does to each of these performances and how it elevates the performances, right? See what some of this sound, like, so sometimes somebody is performing and you hear Ebony Hines does that a lot. She does that with the sound. She's performing and the next thing you just say, "Doo-doo," and the light just goes. Like there's a lot of chaos, right? You see, when you incorporate stuff like that, to incorporate it as an independent artist, you need to go on YouTube first, because I would say the free one first. Use the free one first. Look at it and say, oh, I would like light to face me when I'm performing like this. I would like a spotlight type of effect, right? So when you go to a show, you can tell the listening, hi, you go for sound check. Hi, when I'm performing, I would like for you to crisscross the lights. You may not know what they're called, right? You can say, okay, can crisscross floodlights. You can go online, type of light. I like this full beam. Can you do this full beam light to give me a spotlight? Look, I'd like to use this floodlight and give the front look in my back, right? There's a performance on my lady one time. The way the lights were set up, I think people enjoyed that scene more than even the because everyone was dark except the lights were purple and white. It was rays, the crisscross rays across him. And that picture caught saved the picture, kept posting the picture because as little as just telling the light engineer to just do some small would elevate your performance, especially if you're recording it, right? If you're recording it, when you post it on, it's easy to attract people to say, oh, I like this. Sometimes it's just the way the light moves, right? You need to know basic knowledge of light monitors and to, how to explain what are the key things of light monitor that you can just quickly say, oh hi, I would like you to switch, press this one and do this for me, right? Just some basic things. You don't even have to know all of it. But because you're an independent artist, you can just try to learn some of it. And sometimes for those that you're not good at all, you can go to the sound and light engineer, sit down there and watch what they're doing. If they permit you, sit down there and watch what they're doing. Make friends with them. Some artists, when they come for a rehearsal, like sound check, they just come, do their sound check, and they just go. You don't even know what type of mic. Sometimes the mic will tune to your voice and for your performance. You end up using a different mic the time you come. Meanwhile, that's the mic that was tuned into help perform. When you come say that you perform, you now sound like that's doing one thing, I don't know, you know. Meanwhile, there's a secret mic that you use. It was tuned to a certain frequency. You look for that mic. When you get there, you say, hi, the mic I used when I was doing this. Can I use the mic again? It even helps you to then treat you better. Some people treat you with disdain regardless, because as much as I am, when I go somewhere and I say, oh, I like this artist to have this EDM monitor, this. Some people think to me like, oh, you feel like you know too much, right? But guess what? And it will make it easy for you and the promoter to make it, you know, make it visualize your performance clearer. So some of the tips I'll give everyone is to just have basic knowledge, and you can get the basic knowledge from YouTube. Very basic, like just basic, and test it out on any and see what it looks like. I hope I answered your question.
You did, and you spoke about if in that scenario you are taking like a performance video that you want to post on your socials as well. What are some of the strategies that you would suggest or that you've seen working for others for artists to use when it comes to now sharing their live performances? For example, how can they use these footage and socials, this footage on their socials to grow their fan bases or to direct people to their streams or their merchandises? Like, can you provide some tips as well for how artists can leverage their live performances in short?
So when you record your live performance, right, you can cut them into snippets, right? Look for the most interesting parts. Maybe the parts where the audience is singing back to you, or someone in the audience is singing your song. You see that part? That's your cash cow right there. Cut that clip. Post that clip as many times as possible. Don't get tired. Post it on your various social media and say, oh, you can create a story. I remember when this fan was singing back to me. People are going to go and click and say, this person sounds nice. This looks nice. So you learn how to edit a little bit, cut out the clips. You don't have to what you can now then do with the longer clip is to post it on, maybe if you have a YouTube channel, you can post it on your YouTube channel for the longer clips. But you have to cut your clips into bits and pieces. If you perform 3 songs, cut it into the 3 different songs, and then you say, oh, remember when I performed this song or this tag everybody involved. The promoters tag them and say, thank you so much for this opportunity. The next 3 days, post the second part. When I performed this second song, tag everybody. Tag your friends. Me, sometimes what I do with some of the artists that I work with, I have my own friends. I send it to their, when I post, I send it to their messages and I say, hi, I just posted this for my artist or my talent. I want you to help me repost. That's what I do. I want you to help me repost, please. Just a repost. Just this. But let it be very interesting. Pick the interesting parts. Pick the parts of you vocalizing like an angel and post those parts on social media. It's and if you want to do like sponsored ads, like I said.
So I was saying that nobody even needs to know that the person that is shouting, "Ooh, is your friend." They don't need to know that. The person doesn't need to be singing so deeply and crying. It's fine. Get your friends to do it. Take a video and post that. See, people want to see reaction. And if you're really good at your music, why not? Why not? So yeah, that's usually
Awesome.
how.
Thank you so much. Now we're about to wrap up. I'm sure the room has some questions. I'm going to give you guys the floor. Please feel free to raise your hand. Before we close off, I want us to talk a little bit more about the role of promoters and organizers. You have played both roles in different types of events. How do you guys decide who to book for a show? I know you spoke about popularity at the very start, but what other factors should artists be aware of when it comes to bookings? What are the things that make them more attractive to event organizers and promoters?
So for me as a promoter, acting as a promoter, I would first of all look at popularity. What do the fans want? One, even if I don't know what the fans want, I will look at fans' needs that they don't know they need, right? So you as an artist need to fall into some of these categories. I would look at fillers. So sometimes I have a big artist, but I need people to open for the artist. That's when some of the artists up and coming artists come to my mind. Do you understand? So sometimes I'm just like, yeah, this up and coming artist complements these artists. That is a high level artist. So if I want to do a Johnny Drill show in Malawi, I'm going to definitely get a Kim to come and open or a Kim to perform before Johnny because Kim's song aligns with the Johnny's song, right? So sometimes it's about what the artist is, or it's just about, oh, I'm doing a party. I just want artists who are fun, all of that type of thing. And then I get artists who are fun. So we basically look at different things depending on the type of event we're trying to throw. So if I want a quiet jazz event, I'll look at artists who do jazz. Do you understand? So it depends. Like I said, it's always very dependent. And what we look forward to is, can these artists perform? Can they give us a great time? Because when we have a lineup of artists, sometimes what even happens is some of the consultancies I've done are consultancies. I don't even go to the event to work. They give me a list of artists. Last year, there was an artist called, and there was a festival called Connect Afrobeats. It was in Lagos. I wasn't in Lagos at the time. What they did was they sent me all the names of the artists, all of them, of the artists, up and coming artists actually. They sent me all their names, right? If some of them were even unknown, they sent me all their names and they told me to pick who would come first. So I had about 30 names of artists. and I had to do the lineup according to what I listened to, according to their social media. So I started to do the lineup, and I created a lineup for over 30 artists in that festival. So what was I looking for? There were different artists with different types of music. So I was like, cool, I'm going to pair this slow up. So I separated the sets into four sets. A DJ would separate all the sets, right? But in ascending motion. So even if you have a slow song and you're a very good performer, I'll still put you towards the end next to an high skilled, jumpy performer, because I know that you will not kill the vibe. So after a DJ set, bring you on board. So that's what I was doing. I did a DJ set, an R&B artist, maybe maybe alternative music artist, and then a big Afrobeat like a Afrobeat artist downwards, and then a DJ. So I just basically did all of that four level, like I added them together according to how I know they were going to perform. So we look at different things. For me, I look at different things. Popularity. Who do they want? They want Davido. Now, if they want Davido, what type of artist can we get for Davido to perform? Thankfully, I'll be coming to Malawi soon to do a tour with an artist. And these are the things I could even be looking out for, saying, oh, this artist, what type of artist in Malawi can match up to this artist? Because the artist I'm coming to Malawi with is a huge, is a huge performer. He performs so hard. So what artists are going to match that performances? That's what I look out for.
That was very informative. That's like a nice checklist. And I think if you're an artist listening to this, if you take a note of that and you basically build yourself up in all those different dimensions, you will really see a change a few months from now. Now, in closing, do we have any questions from anybody? I wanted to find out from you, Pere, your suggestions, advice, recommendations. So now you're an artist, you're making all this money, you're booking shows left, right, and center. What are some tips you can give to what an artist should be investing in with their money?
Invest in your sound. So buy yourself an in-ear monitor, your personal in-ear monitor, if you can. If you play instruments, or if your band play instruments, once you have the money, start buying these instruments so that you don't have to rent anymore. Right? Once you start making the money, start buying mixers, your own mixers. So now when you do stuff like that, when you're going for a show, when you're charging, you can charge for bringing those things yourself. Right? So a lot of artists want to go and spend money on chains and grills and stuff like that. And they forget that there's a future in front. There is a YouTube channel to take care of. There's content to create. There's branding to do. You need to keep rebranding. And one artist who has hacked branding is Adekule Gold. If you watch Adekule Gold's trajectory, you will see that Adekule Gold keeps pouring back into himself. He's always reinventing himself. Always. So as an artist who's already making money and everything, you want to pour back into your career. You buy yourself an in-ear. Most of the big artists that I know, they have like 4 in-ear monitors for themselves. Their names are even written on it. Customized for them. So you help yourself. You get your own mic. So if you don't have the money to get an in-ear, you buy yourself a mic. You know that when you get to the venue, you're using your own mic. Nobody's stealing it from you. You're using your own guitar. It just saves a lot of problems. It helps promoters to even become serious, because if I have my mic, my in-ear, and my own guitar, you can't play with me. You can't play with me. So for artists who are already making money and booking shows, I'll say go back and invest in that sound that made you popular. Go back and invest in that sound. Go back and invest in your image, your branding. Yes, you can buy clothes and shoes and stuff, but invest more in your identity as an artist than in what you think the world wants to see. Something that contributes to the story, the music. Invest more in those type of things. So that's my advice, honestly.
Okay, beautiful. I have one more question because the way that you've answered that one is inspired this one. When it comes to building a long-lasting career, a lot of us artists sometimes we're looking at numbers, we're looking at popularity. I know you've mentioned that as being an important factor that you look at as a promoter or event organizer. But what are the other characteristics that emerging African artists need to be working on, that matter more than just numbers? Does that make sense as a question?
Can you repeat the last thing you said? You broke off for a bit.
Okay. So basically, what are some other characteristics that you feel young African artists need to be working on and focusing on that matter more than just numbers and metrics?
Quality. Quality over quantity. So for me, because I'm a quality person, I will take a quality performer over a performer who has maybe if you have 1,000,000 streams, I would take someone who has 2,000 streams who can get my crowd going more for me. And there's so many promoters like that too. One of the things that I'm going to speak from a personal point of view now. One of the things that I'm trying to achieve with touring in Africa, with venturing into touring in Africa, is just so that fans are able to listen to artists they've not listened to before without necessarily knowing them. Like, it's not like when I tell you I'm bringing an artist to your city, you trust that the artist is going to be great. You trust that there's going to be quality. You don't need to know the artist. You just need to know that, whenever Perelade brings an artist to Malawi, that artist is going to be fire. Or if I take Kim to Nigeria, everybody's going to be like, yeah, don't worry. As long as it's Perelade, this Kim is going to be so amazing. I look at quality. Quality would give you longevity. Quality will give you longevity. And you add it with wisdom. You pad quality with wisdom because you need to know certain decisions that you need to make. Quality music will give you longevity. You see artists like Fally Ipupa, right? There was a time Fally Ipupa used to be so big, right? Now, we're not really hearing a lot about Fally Ipupa. But do you guys know that Fally Ipupa tours? He tours, like he's touring, right? He's flying high to different cities, and we don't even know. Kofi Olumide, the popular Makossa artist, he used to be so big when I was smaller. And it seemed like, they're sitting over. They used to
Fan
be
of
the
him,
biggest.
Kofi Olomide.
Yes. They used to be like so huge. Now it seems like we're not really hearing. But guess what? Kofi lives in America. I was going to book him for something, and he was like, he's going to be flying from America. And I was like, America? How? Because guess what? They are touring. They are touring. They have somebody like a Kofi has longevity. I met an artist in Tanzania in 2023, right? Her name is what's that her name? I met several artists like that in Tanzania. They performed at Access Festival, Music in Africa, the Access Festival they always do. What's her name? Senada or something like that. She had this very beautiful name that starts with an E. There were also a group of women. They were touring. They toured. Okay, no, let me even use a Tanzanian artist that a lot of people don't know. And when I came to Nigeria, I was trying to push her because her name is Kadlida. She's part of a genre, right? A new genre of music in Tanzania, right? I'm gonna call this genre. I'll send her page to you when I like find it. I was going to drop the link here.
Yes,
So
please.
is pushing a new genre in in Tanzania. And do you know that she has been touring in Europe? She has been touring in America. And I'm like, she's not even 20 yet. I think maybe she just turned 20. But she was so young and she was going on tours. And she's going to be there for a long time because she has assembled more women to do more of these types of. She goes for Yenge Festival too. She goes to South Africa. She tours, and it's so crazy because she does not even have up to maybe 4,000 followers. but she's such a young person. You see quality. You see quality of everything you do, quality of your music, quality of the performance, with popularity. Popularity will come and it will go. And once it comes and it goes, nobody cares about you anymore. People want an experience. People want quality music. You see, whenever the likes of Charlie Poppy comes, they do a new song, all of us were jumping and jumping and jumping and jumping and jumping. But guess what? When we go to the room and we just want to listen to quality music, we listen to a Low J, we listen to a Burna Boy. No, let me not use Burna Boy. We listen to a Low J, and Low J feels like a lot of people don't know him, but we go back in our closet and we listen to a Low J, we listen to Joe Boy, we listen to a Fire Boy. But whenever Charlie Poppy releases music, it's like he's the only one in Nigeria. So quality over quantity, honestly. That is where your longevity is, because the day that, even if you're an artist who was on the ground for 7 years, the day somebody discovers your music, and Kim, this is something that even GT used to tell us, remember, they tell you that you should release quality music. You should do stuff that's quality, because the day that you are discovered, everybody's going to go back to your catalog. And when they find all the gems that you've released, you are going to be their favorite artist. So yes, quality. Quality translates to longevity, honestly.
Word. Okay, you keep on dropping gems, so don't blame me for the questions. One last question. So now I've conquered my local scene as an artist, I'm performing everywhere. But now I want to go perform in Nigeria and Zambia. I want to start going into other African countries. What are some tips that you can give to independent artists who want to travel into other countries and do touring and, grow their fan bases? Let's imagine they can't bring a team, they're on a budget. What would you suggest? And also security. Yeah.
So there are some of these festivals you can apply to. The festivals in Morocco, the festivals happening in Yenga Yenga Fest, they call for artists. The festivals happening in Tanzania, Southeast Bazaar, right? There's so many festivals happening where they call for artists. One advice I would give people if they want to perform outside of their home country is to apply for festivals like this, right? And some of the ways that you can convince these people is you can even send a mail and tell them, hi, I know that you have a lot of selection to do, but I would like to perform. And if you have your own flight ticket, right, you can say, oh, I would like to perform, but I have my flight ticket. You don't need to take care of me. I can come perform. Just give me a platform. Sometimes that mail pulls through and they tell you yes. And you go. You don't have to go with a team. You can create like a good backing track that can give you like a good performance, a very good backing track, so that it seems like you are playing the drums and everything live, behind you. Just a great backing track can help you do a lot. So if you have the money to go to some of these countries, why not? Write to some of these festivals, write to some of the shows. There's Yenga Yenga Festival, there's Visa for Music, there's South of the Bazaar, there's so many other festivals. There's even Bole Festival in Nigeria, Kim. There's Bole Festival. And they always call for artists. Bole Festival. It's a festival that has over 20,000 people every year. There's so many festivals you can apply to. Tell them, hi, I'll take care of my flight tickets. I just need to perform. If you have the money. And if you don't, you can just apply till one of them picks you, because they usually pay for like your flight and stuff and give you per diem if you're selected. So that's the way that you can pitch yourself, to be honest, if you're ready to go out of your home country. That's the way it can.
Thank you so very much. Those are all the questions that I had for today. Thank you, Perry. I appreciate your time and your insights. I hope we can host you again. If ever you need someone from Malawi to come do something for you, you can always reach out to us. To the audience, is there anybody with an extra question before we wrap up, or we're good? Are we good? Going once, going twice, going three times. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. You have a great time. Until next time, you all have a great week. Paris, thank you.